Hey guys, it's me, Kelly. Sorry about that. I've got a delay on my end, and it's probably a little choppy. Hey, you guys, check it out. It's Tony Sayers is back to enlighten us about the false light. And oh my gosh,
Kelly,
yeah, feeling
I
like
can
you're
hear
the
you
only one
twice.
talking about this. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say? Oh crap. Are we already having connection problems? I'm so sorry.
I can hear you. I was hearing you twice.
Oh, like an echo?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear your voice twice, and I can hear my voice as well.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
like when you say something, it says it twice, and I can hear what I say.
Yeah, and from my end, it's garbled. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry about that. I think we had connection problems the last time we talked. Of it, I've got like a hotspot, and the hotspot is by the window, but I don't think it's working very well. Oh my gosh, you guys! Holy crap! And I don't know if you're hearing. Oh, Hazel, we'll check in on
I'm
everybody.
hearing you twice.
Well, crap! I'm not sure how to fix that, Tony. It looks like because I'm trying to click on a comment and sorry about that. I
It
know if there's
sounds
like
like
an
there's
echo, it
about
can drive
five
you
of us in
crazy
the
when you're
room.
listening to it. Oh, crap. I wonder. Hey, Karen. Hey, Kimberly. Oh, they can hear us both, even though you're hearing it like that. They said that they can hear us both. What does it sound like? Because I'm having a hard time hearing you. Crap. But I'm
Maybe
only
I
hearing
try
you
and leave
once.
and then come back in.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm so sorry. I wonder if we need to just start this over. We must be talking about something amazing. Holy crap, you guys. I'm so sorry. I thought we had all this connection stuff already handled by the time we got here. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Oh, and now we're doing better connection wise. Sometimes when someone comes in with their camera, and the audio, it's too much, especially with my teeny tiny bandwidth.
Ah, that's
Is that better? Oh, okay, wonderful.
yeah,
It's
that
like
was
turn it
crazy. I was
off and turn
hearing
it back
more
on.
voices.
Aw, we've got a lot of people in here that you guys so excited. We'll see if anybody has any questions for you because I don't know about you, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I just kind of take
What
each
with
day as it
technology?
comes and technology and everything else.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
and
just
what
in
I
general?
call, I don't know. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
same.
I
It's
don't know. I call this a,
you never know what they're going to throw at us next, do you? You know, is it going to be like a banking crash? Are they going to knock down the grid? You know, is it going to be blue beam? It's always like everyone's waiting on tender hooks for the next psyop, right?
and then when I talk to people, I look at like what are they consuming? Like where's their consumption? I guess in this system.
Well, I think
And that's I guess whatever you plug in is what you get out. So are they, possibly in some of these systems, not that they're right or wrong, but they're distractions that get us caught in I guess part of what I see is part of the hologram.
mhm.
And then we start getting really caught up in the plot line of the hologram.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you do that. I know I do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what your thoughts are about NPCs. I just made a video about NPCs. It seems that
Oh, okay.
people are just getting weirder and more confused and lost every time I go out. And I've had so many instances where, like, wherever I go, like someone will move above me and start throwing parties or moving furniture around. Like the guy opposite me, he's just moved in. He's like literally the loudest person that you could ever, like, if you could like make a person, like, this person has got to be the loudest person in the world, right? He's like into drugs, like blasts his music. So these NPCs seem to be like just following me around, and I've had it from other people, like people in sessions and people on my channel, where they can be out like walking the dog, and then like a helicopter will just fly above their head, like they'll be enjoying nature, or they'll be out in their garden, and then some like NPC will start playing like loud music. And it just seems to be like more apparent than ever for those of us that are not plugged in. We seem to be getting like bombarded on so many different levels now, um, by people, entities, like everything's being thrown at us, I think right now. So we got to be really incredibly strong and tough to deal with what's being thrown at us, don't you think?
And yeah, on those levels, because you're talking about a lot of stuff I'm not real familiar with.
That's okay.
This information again, I don't know how connected I am right now, because I don't do a lot of like social media consumption, or I don't follow the political system. I don't know the president outside of what I remote view and looking at cyborg type entities in all places, and then looking in at excuse me, like all are being played by what seems to be some sort of an actor, or this clone type system where you've got a potential entity that can continue to come back with multiple bodies. It looks like situations like that are happening. It looks like a ton of like celebrities are being cloned
Hmm.
during this process. So I guess I haven't taken a whole lot of it seriously
No.
at all, because I see, all the world is a stage.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can't take it too seriously because you'll go insane. If you start taking what these NPCs and clones are doing seriously, then it's not good for your own energy. And I think it's really important that we have to try and find balance and joy. And even though this is like a matrix of control, I think you can still have some really nice moments and some good times as well. And I think to be able to transition through this period, we've got to find things that we like to do, and focus on, and not, this isn't like spiritual bypassing new age. This is just not getting drawn into, like you say, all the stage of politics and everything else that brings us down. So I don't know if you're there right now. You seem to have disappeared. I think it's just me.
I I'm so sorry. I heard the last part of that. I'm so sorry I got kicked off of my own
Yeah, you
StreamYard.
came out and came back in
Sorry about
again. So
that.
yeah, I was just saying that we need to find some happiness and joy in all of this. And yeah, what I've been saying for a while now, where my focus is, and I'm not saying this to be depressing, but I think it's really important that we figure out like what we're going to do when we die, when we leave this physical body. Because I don't know where your research has taken you, but mine has taken me to this. I don't even think it's an idea that we're stuck in like a soul recycling trap, and we're getting shown this false white light tunnel at the end, and we're being love bombed with false white light energy, and so it's very alluring. Oh wow, that's a
Does
great
this look
graphic.
familiar? Do, does that look familiar as to what you're talking about? This trap, I guess. And here's just kind of another perspective. I've found some drawings out there that were, really close, and stuff like this, like a jellyfish type of thing. And when I remote viewed, I'm trying to think where my pictures were that I think it's like, let me. So sorry about that. I wasn't organized with all these pictures ready. When you came here, here we go. Like, these are concepts that I had remote viewed a long time ago, and
Yes.
those were like very similar, and they matched. I'm sorry,
Mm.
I'm trying to click the more pictures. Here we go. Crap. There we go. There we go. Like, isn't this interesting? Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then we've got someone like Jay Dreamers, which I think intuitively has got that going on. And then it was like, okay, what is the, I don't know, remote viewing or whatever you call it? Like, what is the natural part and what is the deception? So the natural part looks, like this. And then the deceptive part, when our remote view, looked very similar to this.
Oh wow.
So it's very similar. So have you remote viewed? Let's see. Oh, here's just another version of that. Have you remote viewed anything like this?
I haven't gone into that side of things in terms of remote viewing on death, but it's something that could be interesting to do. All I know, and what we're seeing right now, it appears that all these NDE experiences are coming out of the woodwork. And what I've come to the conclusion of is that they are going and having these experiences. And what's happening is these entities, these false white light beings, are telling these people, look, it's not your time. You need to go back down to earth and spread the message. And so when you research these NDEs, a lot of the time they don't want to come back. There's real, like, a lot of resistance a lot of the time. And they use all kinds of tricks, karma and deceased loved ones and guilt tripping, what are you going to do because your son needs you or your dad needs you, or, they need you down there. And so they get tricked back down, and they're being used as like vessels to promote the whole NDE experience, in the fact that, look, don't worry, when you die, it's all love and light. It's all love and light. It's all, don't worry, Jesus is going to be at the pearly gates if that's your flavor, or Buddha if that's your flavor, or Archangel Michael if that's your flavor. Whatever your flavor is, it's going to be used against you on death. And what I'm trying to say to people is that it's really vitally important to let go of any matrix belief systems that you hold, because from what I can tell is that they will be used against you, even as far as, and this is how evil these entities are. They're using like deceased loved ones that perhaps you were incredibly close to. So if there's a person in your life that you were close to that's passed over, be very discerning on death, because that person may be used to trick you back down here, to to pull on the emotional strings. I
tell people, if you recognize them, you're not in the right place. If you recognize their face, you're in the wrong place. Leave.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's really important to set a strong intention of, I want to get out of here, because intention, yourself, Kelly, intention in that dimension is, intention in this dimension is important. And if only we knew how powerful our intention was. But in that dimension, it's obviously it's instant. So you put your focus on, matrix stuff, they're going to hook you back in, memory wipe you, right? So everything that you've learned in this lifetime, you could have got to a really advanced stage. You could have known about all the trappings of the matrix, But if you've got that one attachment, then they've got you. And you know, if they when they wipe your memory, you don't know if the next lifetime you're going to learn what you learned in this lifetime. And so how many more lifetimes you're going to be recycled back down? I know it sounds really depressing, all of this, but it's better to face it for what it is than to you know, kid ourselves and want to believe that there's all these beings that have got our back and dad's going to be there when you pass over. And of course, all these NDEs, that's what they're coming back down and telling everyone. So they're running this like new agenda now where they're being used as vessels to promote the idea of connecting with these beings when you die. And they're saying it's okay, you're going to be okay. You know, your angel's going to be there, your guide's going to be there. And it's all love because they're being love bombed with that frequency. You know this, Kelly, that frequency of the false white light energy, that haze, that mist that puts that trance it puts people in, but it feels good. Like I always liken it to like ecstasy or something. Feels good, but it's false. And you know, there's the inevitable crash afterwards. And so it sounds to me like they pull out all. Sorry.
Oh, to me, it looks like snow on a television, that false white light.
Yes.
And it's a feeling of being drugged.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a natural feeling. And then, because I've died twice and had two completely different experiences. The first one was kind of like a kidnapping, you know, trying to draw you into this white light tunnel with that false light that feels like love. Just the most amazing thing ever, and a never ending you know, come this way, this is the way to go, come to me, to, you know, towards the tunnel, trying to distract you from everything, and just, you know, feeling amazing, and the forgetting of what was going on. So the second time I died, it was completely different. It was, instead of the white light, it was oval, and it was dark but full, like the black light with all the colors, kind of stuff. It was highly decorated, and the beings around it had more the white robes with a gold trim, and like Grecian looking, that type. And it was more like on the level of a soul group is what they felt like. Because I didn't recognize their faces, but I knew I'd done a bunch of stuff with them before. I had that.
Would you describe them as like elders? Because what you're describing there are really literally the two kind of NDEs that I've been hearing about. There's the one of the false white light, and then there's this other one where the person gets shown this like incredible like ancient building or something, like old Greek building, and these elders, they call themselves, approach. So that sounds like what the second one was for you then.
And that's still in the false system, or what has your information been about that second one? Still a false system?
Yeah, it's still false because of the two, they both end up in the same place basically.
Gotcha.
So the elders, from what I've researched, is that the elders will try and convince you, look, Kelly, it's not your time. Maybe they did that. I don't know. Maybe you can put more meat on the bones with this. But they'll be like,
it was more telepathic instead of like hearing it in my head, mechanical, I guess. It was more telepathic, like a knowing of the information. Oh, you can come with us. This was not words. You can come with us, or you can go back. It doesn't matter. You get to choose. It'd be great if you came with us, but if you went back, it'd be just fine as well. So that was kind of more of a knowing, and instead of talking like the first time. So maybe just a more sophisticated trap, because I wasn't going to fall for the first one again.
Well, the thing is with you're not the average kind of person. You're not the average like spark of consciousness, because you have a far greater, I don't know at this stage if you had the awareness that you have now, but for them, if you look at it from their point of view, you know, if they're trying to hook the average Joe back in, the TV watcher, sports fan, it's not going to be very difficult. They'll just show Granny or Jesus or whatever he's into, But for someone like you, it's going to take a little bit more work. It's going to take a little bit more deception. It's going to take a little bit more manipulation because you're clued up, right? So I feel, this is just what I feel, is that that was potentially another manipulation where they might have cajoled you, you know, maybe engaged you more and worked out little sneaky ways in which they could, like, you know, hook you back in. That's just a hunch that I've got, and it's based on the research that I've done as well. Because they know all your weak spots. We know that they have all your memories, and they will use the the one where you misbehave the most to guilt trip you. A lot of people report seeing like a TV screen coming down with the memories, and they say that they're quite often shown a time where perhaps they upset someone. And so, you know, the matrix is like, well, you know, look what you did to Pat this time, right? You really hurt her feelings, and there's all this like guilt tripping karma. I mean, karma for me is just, I think that's bullshit at this stage. I don't think, you hear time and time again how karma is being used to guilt trip people back down. And I think, well, where's the karma for these like psychopaths doing all this stuff to children and all that? Like, where's their karma? Like, why is it just our karma? So, it, and it's another belief system of the matrix. And the more I research, the more I ponder on all of this, it's like every belief system of this matrix has to be left at the doorstep. And you have to go with a blank
Yeah.
mind, and be very strong in your intention to leave. And this is just, again, my hunch and what I feel. I don't think it's actually that complicated to get out of this matrix. I just think that we need to direct our attention with our intention to leave, simply leave, not engage with any light beings, any elders, any hooded beings, any deceased family members. For me personally, I'm just like, okay, I'm dead. Okay, I know I'm dead. I want to get the out of here. And you know, we're incredibly strong, and I think if you're very strong in your intention, I think you will leave. And what that looks like, or feels like, I don't know. I had a conversation, someone that would be really interesting. You might want to get on your podcast. You may have heard of him, Howdy Mikowski. Have you heard of him, Howdy?
No.
Okay, he's really a great mind as well. And we were talking about this, and he had a death experience where he didn't have the near death experience, but I think he actually died, but he just felt like he was like all his ego, his memories, his problems, his everything just vanished, and he became what he described as all knowing, like all knowing and everything.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever experienced anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I have once as well when I took acid years ago. I don't recommend taking it anymore because it can do other stuff. But I had the same thing where I remember I was on the beach in Cambodia, and my ego just got like everything that I thought I was, all my problems, all the mission that I thought I was on, it all just paled into like nothingness. And I remember being actually quite pissed off because I'm like, hang on a minute, I've worked really hard to get that to get that person where I am, and now you're telling me I'm just nothing. But at the same time, I was everything. So there was this like dichotomy going on. When I came out of it, I was like, oh, I'm not me, because we identify so much with
Yeah.
ourselves and all our stupid problems and trying to do this and what that person thinks of you, and it's like it was just like awareness of just everything, and it was in the one hand it was incredible, but on the other hand it was disappointing. So I don't know whether that's what it's like when we leave, whether we just go back into that total awareness, I don't know. I think it's about intention, because maybe in that total awareness, if you really liked being Kelly and that your soul journey, maybe you can take that fragment into another experience somewhere else. I think the options are unlimited, really. Um, so yeah, I'm
Yeah,
digressing.
every time I left or died or whatever you call it, and I went out of it, I don't know how to explain this, but I still had a concept of me. No matter what my name was or what you called me, it's still me.
Yeah.
I still retained that. And I don't know if I'm describing that well.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I guess it's, yeah, not even necessarily the ego, but I remember being super pissed off. I'm like, hang on a minute, I've like worked all these years, I've built myself up, I've done all this work on myself, I've done this, I've done that, and now I'm just what? What am I? I'm nothing. But at the same time, I'm everything, and it was such a weird feeling. It was really funny, actually. Um, but the other thing that we were talking about as well, and something that gets thrown out there a lot with this, with the, especially in the like the new age scene, is this idea of we're all one and oneness. And I guess at some level, at the level that we're just speaking about, we are, right. We are everything and nothing at the same time. But I think this like we're all one thing is really used against us in this particular matrix, because it almost allows for like bypassing and well, and almost like other people are controlling our experience and all of that stuff. So I find that like kind of an interesting concept within the bounds of this matrix, because I think that this matrix is very much about the soul journey, right? That's why we have souls. What does soul mean? It means solo. So maybe it's true, but it's this matrix it's used for experiencing that fragmentation, almost, and seeing what you can do with it. I don't know. I'm just digressing here, but what do you think about that?
Oh, gosh, I'm not sure. In the stuff when I work with people, I try to look at it from what I call the God bubble perspective, like
Yes.
God being nothing, and then creating a bubble, like the outside of the bubble, all of creation, and then that is broken down then into lots of bubbles on all kinds of forms, from like a toroidal field type
Mm.
perspective uh, on things. So I try to look from that perspective as much as I can. God, I created all of this. Now let's look at it and see what it looks like. I try to do like an evaluating of what is my perspective right now. Like it's been one of those days, and very very avatar perspective on things.
Mm.
Feeling very helpless in systems, or climbing the new age ladder or whatever, and getting up into a higher aspect of yourself, which you can do more in that level, but it's still in such a limited system. You're still identifying with the illusion again, when you're doing that, but it's still a perspective on things to have. And then I guess for me, the upgrading is, wait a minute, I'm God. I created all of this. It doesn't have any power over me. And so that, I don't know. That's how I try to evaluate my world, to see where I'm coming from, having this perspective on it.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting, and yeah, I just think that I think even for people that have I don't know, how would you describe it, like have seen through more layers of the matrix, I think there's still a lot of things that people need to let go of to make sure that they free themselves at the end, um,
Mhm.
and I just feel strongly that the if you have to, or you don't have to, but I would say to people that anything that is like left undealt with here, you want to sort it out now before you pass, you know. And yeah, any strong bonds and connections are great in this human experience, but again, you don't want to be hanging on to them when you pass over, because, like I say, from what I can see, is that the matrix will use it against you, and yeah, any kind of like blind spots, it appears that that's what they do.
Yeah, I work with like a letting go and allowing type process. Just letting go of all these things. So when we look at in the direction of manifesting, when we look at our perspective, I guess, on freedom, where do we find ourselves? Are we fighting for freedom? Are we trying to convince people of our freedom? So, what are we doing there? So, first, you look at, well, in order to free myself from something, I've got to create it first. So, I'm
Mm.
creating it and then continually freeing myself from it, which I'm never going to get that credit card paid off when
That's
when I do that. So as far as the manifesting, instead of potentially like looking at it as, man, I'm going to have to push and pull and pull in some favors and all that to get this done. To me, the winning of the game, or leaving or exiting, or however people may view it, not as much as finding your way out or escaping, rather than seeing it for what it was,
mm.
so that you just don't hold on to it anymore, then you find yourself out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one way of
It looks
looking
like
at
a
it.
grid system that we've grabbed onto, that kind of like electricity. It kind of it's got a grip on it, a really good grip. That's what it feels like, that we've gripped onto something, and it's kind of like zapped us in, to where
Yeah,
if you just go, oh, wait a minute, let me let go of that. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I've been in a movie
Yeah,
theater the whole time.
it's
Oh,
just one big trick. That's why it's called a matrix, right? We've just been tricked into.
that's the truth. That's the truth.
What did you say? Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that's the truth. It's Matrix.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the great irony in it all is that we are the creative ones. Like, we are the incredible ones, and they've made us out to be like the parasites and the ones that need to be wiped out. Um, and I just wonder that if enough of us soul beings with souls, not the NPCs, uh, I guess that is what this awakening is. When enough of us put our intention on freedom and freeing ourselves from government control and everything like that, and put in the necessary action to some degree as well, then I would say that has to manifest itself, because we are the creative ones. I mean, who knows what humans are actually capable of creating. I mean, you've probably messed around in the astral, and you can create things instantly in the astral. You can create like
Oh, I
different.
don't fuck around in the astral. Oh, fuck that shit. That's one of the most dangerous places to be. The
Yeah,
astral.
yeah, no,
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 I teach to remote viewing on a little bit different level than that. Because when
mhm,
I look at like the astral, it is one tiny thing in all of creation. But
yes,
as far as remote viewing goes, if I just use this as an example of God, like like you being God in the middle of nothing, I guess think of this as a bubble, and
yeah,
all of creation on the outside. In the
yeah,
God position, you can access all of creation with
hmm,
your, and it's more complicated than this, but your sight, your smell, your taste, your hearing, your knowing, your touching. You can access everything from that. And to me, this fourth dimensional type of place that looks like it might attract gamers, people who like to just play games with a computer system. Like, I
yeah,
don't see any characters being real in the
yeah,
astral plane.
Yeah.
So to me, it looks like something to kind of the ones that are waking up that are gamers, they get stuck in the astral place
Yeah.
and they don't really
Absolutely.
see again. Like I call it white light push pull system.
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
avoid it, like, oh, children, don't go near. No, but
Yeah.
it's like if you know what it is when you're
Yeah.
doing it.
No, I absolutely agree. You know, the astral realm is just a layer of the matrix, and we go way beyond that. When I'm talking about creating, so for example, when I clear contracts from people, what I'll do is I'll in the astral I'll light a fire, so to speak, and then I'll bring in ask to see all the contracts from this lifetime, previous lifetime. Normally, I see like piles and piles of them, and I just literally pull them into the fire and burn them. So that's the kind of thing that I mean when I'm talking about like creating. So yeah, you don't want to ever mess around with like entities and stuff in there, but we can use the astral to do some good energy work as well.
What about, just for grins, you are in the God position and you created the astral realm, and you just don't need to create that anymore. Instead of go through all of the work, pushing and pulling in that white light system, and you
Yeah.
go to its boss, well, that's in
Yeah.
charge of the hiring firing up there.
Have you?
So yeah, I see a lot of layers. Yeah. Yeah, and then you don't have to do as much work. I'm all about being like as lazy as possible and letting the universe work for me. I try to go
Yeah.
to the highest levels as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I make you right. Have you ever tried remote viewing, like what's behind, like that's running like these entities? What's behind it all? Like this, what I don't know, this fake demigod.
Mhm. See, here's cool about the way that I teach you how to remote view, and you can do it right now.
Yeah.
You're God, you created all of creation. There is no behind anything
Yeah.
because you created that thing that you're trying to look behind when you're in the
Hmm.
avatar kind of perspective.
Right.
From the avatar and from a limited place, I can't see it. Wait a minute, I'm
Mm.
God, I created all of creation. It's right over there.
Mm.
Seeing
Yeah.
you just removed all your blocks and you're out of the white light push pull system completely.
Okay.
That is
Interesting.
about the only place that I can find that's out of this white light push pull system.
Yeah. 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 That's an interesting way. Yeah, I've definitely used that technique, the God bubble, and it's very effective with clearing stuff as well. So, how did you find
Awesome.
out about that? How did you learn about that?
The concept I think really hit me hard when I did ayahuasca. I did
Oh,
it
okay.
one time. I don't think I'll ever do it again, but I'm really glad I did.
Yeah.
And when you find yourself in that place of nothing,
Yes.
that's your God. There's nothing been created yet.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that place before anything has been created. It's that God place.
Yeah.
And like I
Yeah.
guess I nicknamed it after that, the God bubble. Because it was
That's
like,
a
wait a minute,
great.
I created all of this.
That's a great name. It's cute as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I guess there's
So and
always like that blank canvas to create something, isn't there?
yeah, because the governance, instead of freeing from a governance, let's just let go of the concept of governance and just go over here and just do what I want to do over here.
Yeah.
And that
In your
I
van.
just don't create this. Yeah, I don't fight it. I don't go out and protest. I don't try to educate people. I don't try to get everybody on my side and
Yeah.
to all be for my position. I can just heal myself and let it go, understanding that the projection of your universe comes from here, and it's
Yeah.
based on the feelings and the emotions, not the
Yeah.
words and the thoughts.
Yeah.
That's where I see a lot of the deception is the words and the thoughts. But the feelings are pure, the feelings and emotions.
Mm. And that's really important that people like when you talk of like God, most people believe or they think it's outside of them. So that's what I've been trying to get across to people for a couple of years. It's like it's internal. Like, you don't need to go searching out there. Every time you search out there, you're playing Russian roulette, aren't you? But I think people are so blocked and they can't. I think a lot of people are so traumatized as well that when you tell them actually you've got a spark of the creative force or essence, whatever you want to describe it as, within you, it's like they're beaten down so much. It's very difficult for them to go from here over to here in one giant leap. So I don't know how you found that with your listeners and your viewers. I think it's really ingrained in our subconscious to seek outside, isn't it, as well? So that's the other thing. So automatically people are always going out there, but it's such a, like you say, it's such a massive solution if you can just come inside, realize the God bubble, and embody that and start living from that way of being. Is completely empowering. All of a sudden, like you say, nothing outside is really matters so much, because you know that you're the power here.
So then when we get caught up in the details, because they're really juicy, about the Pleiadians and the reptilians and all, I mean, that's like soap opera stuff. That's like really cool. So that when you take a position of, I'm God, I created all of this, now let me look at the slee stacks. And so when we're looking at the slee stacks, we don't see it having any power over us. We see it for what it is. And then there's no fear. Oh, it's just an idea. I manifest it or I don't manifest it in my world. But it's just an idea. Like everything else. It's first an idea. So controlling, if you will, or setting up boundaries for yourself for the ideas that you allow in. Very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all about empowering people, and people have to empower themselves. It's down to that individual person, and the more people.
That's why I don't take them from here to here.
Yeah,
I'm here. When they come, they know if they're ready or not. If they're not ready, then they're just not ready.
Yeah.
They're just doing something else, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. So it's hopefully more and more people will have that inner realization, I guess you could call it.
And the cool thing is, you'll find, and you probably already have, with the ones that follow you or whatever it's called, in the areas where you heal, you find watching.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Crap.
Are you there?
Influence can oh my god. If it's everybody's writing questions. Let's see. Right there. I'm gonna take it from there. Spy but loving this. Hi there. Hi everybody. Can you even hear me yet?
I can hear you again now. Yeah.
Okay. I was just kind of flipping through some of the comments while I was waiting to hear your voice. Non-player characters. Yeah, because all that juicy stuff, again, I don't know if we're connected. The juicy stuff, when I was looking at some people's channels, and this is why I limit my looking at this, they were talking about the kids from like the 1800s that look like little old men in like a real short period of time, being pod people, and how they've got the memories and all that, or they're programmed from this that's about the size of an apple seed they put in the back of their neck. And so like we could get really caught up in all of that drama for the background people.
Yeah.
It can get scary sometimes when you consume.
Yeah, there's a lot of rabbit holes to go down. That's for sure. I mean, I think if you've got a curious and questioning mind, I think, and I think reaching objective truths is important as well. I think that, you know, the wall has been pulled over our eyes on so many different subjects, and you know, it's knowledge is power, isn't it? If once you get to the truth of something, you can do something about it. While you're living in the deception of something, then you're more likely to be manipulated, and that will be used against you. So I do think that truth seeking is important, and it's interesting as well. I mean, whatever you say about this crazy place, this crazy clown world, you can't say that it's not an interesting place to be, right? I mean, God,
It is
just
very interesting. I mean,
just
congratulations. We did a great job with this one.
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, just the last couple of years alone, I mean, you could write a library about some of the crazy stuff that's happened, and even now, there's people still driving around in masks on their own in their cars, and it's really there's so much to this place that it's never boring. So I don't think there's
Oh, it's not
anything.
boring.
No, but we can get dragged down into certain rabbit holes that lead nowhere, as we know. There's probably as much misinformation and disinformation in the alternative media than there is in the mainstream media. So it's really important to develop and hone those discernment skills. But yeah,
Well, I figure just if you look at everything being the opposite of the truth, you get by pretty well, just assuming that.
yeah. I mean, it's easy, isn't it? Whatever they say, the opposite is true.
Just the
It's
opposite is true.
yeah, they invert everything. And no, I mean, God, I've been going down the rabbit hole lately of like what's beyond the Antarctic wall. I mean, I don't know if you managed to
Yeah.
remote view there, but that really
Well, I've
fascinates me.
remote viewed for a while, but I don't know if people were ready for what I remote viewed.
Oh, come on,
'Cause
Kelly.
it I'm trying to find the picture. Okay. Crap. I can't find what I'm looking for.
See, I've been there's like talk of like other.
Oh,
Yes, that's
there it is.
it. That's exactly the map. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, see, all these worlds, this is like Mars, Venus, Jupiter, all this, they're here on the flat
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah.
Is that what you remote view as well?
It's looked almost like jellyfish looking.
I know. It's
And
wonderful.
it looks like we're on a spacecraft. It looks
Yeah,
like we're on it's got a slight curve to it and like a big dome, and it looks jellyfish tentacly like, but crystalline at the same time. I know that makes no
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So it's this craft we appear to be on in salt water. In other words, all the stuff on the surface, this big dome that's over all the other domes, is in liquid, like
Wow.
a saline, like a salt water.
Like a
So we're a
jellyfish.
bubble, like a jellyfish. That's what
So
it looks like. We're riding a
we're living
jellyfish.
on a 3D jellyfish. The Earth's not flat; it's jellyfish.
Well, it's how do I explain this? Like a almost like a lenticular craft where it is exists in multiple dimensions at the same time.
Yes.
And one of them in the third dimension would be liquidy, like salt water. So when you
Right.
see things like do their oh I'm going off I'm SpaceX whatever, it's like they're going into water. If you see all those patterns, it looks like the pattern that you take when you go through water. You
Right.
look at all those what they're calling stars, just look like toroidal fields that are producing white light in water. In water.
What? So kind of like projection, illusion.
Yes, like this is a big, if you want to think of this big dome and all the other domes kind of like plasma television set, curved television screens,
Right.
plasma based.
Wow, that's
So it's very
fascinating.
realistic.
Yeah,
So that's what
yeah,
it looks like to me. A jellyfish that goes in again, when I remote view it, it looks kind of like that. When I
okay.
remote viewed it the first time, uh and then this was the synthetic or the matrix version of the natural thing that's going on. So you got a natural version and a matrix version. So that's like the fourth dimension, what the fourth dimension looks like. So that's the
Um,
astral travel place.
is this the first time you've come out with this information?
No, I've been telling people this for years and
Oh,
years. And so now what's happening is people are coming back and going, Kelly, other people are seeing this too. Oh, you should
right,
see this that's out. And that's where I got some of those pictures. Is they're like, Kelly, someone else saw this. But it looks like what I'm envisioning, but it's on its side.
right.
Uh, with that, like when other people's versions of it look like that.
Okay,
And kind of like that, where it's on its side instead of standing straight up. I saw it standing straight up when I remote
right.
viewed it. So these are like really, really close to what I was seeing. Is more of the natural thing that we're doing is very creature like. It's very aqua or like in water. This experience, and that when you have this experience, it's like you get lighter and it's like density based, so you naturally float up when you've learned your lessons. It's not pushing and pulling.
Yeah.
It's when you let go of a lot of stuff, you naturally rise to the next level. And we
Uh,
seem to be these underwater like creatures. This is just in the Matrix drama kind of stuff, but these underwater
yeah.
creatures that have all these multiple experiences at one time.
Wow. That's fascinating. Because they talk of like giants being past the ice wall. I'm sure you've heard that theory.
I did a video the other day where um after looking at Mud Fossil University saying, oh, the mountains are the dragons, and then me taking a look and going, oh my goodness, that's what it looks like, and going on the premise that these continents that we live on could be larger beings that have died with some type of death, fallen and then hardened on some level. So I got
Mm.
out Google Maps, knowing that they've pretty much taken something flat and made it round. So trying to figure this out with this known world. But on Google Maps, I did a whole video that it looks like there's three birds, like huge, enormous birds that make up all the continents of what they say our world is, that have died. Like you see their necks and their feet, their claws, and their wings and
What?
everything are the continents. And then it looks like you've got all these other creatures that are smaller and smaller, and now we've got the titans on top of those creatures that are like huge and like on top. So it looks like just a bunch of dead creatures on top of each other in this never ending experiment.
That's
So it's
crazy.
So, so yeah,
I
that's what I've
really,
seen about the continents.
I really want to go like to Antarctica now. We
Oh,
need
and
to
that's
get an expedition to.
I love it. Oh my gosh. So where'd that map go? Yeah, this. So if you look at this concept, each of these bubbles, each of these bubbles has its own toroidal field, has its own reality bubble, its own frequency, its thing that it does, kind of like it's a cell in a body. So if
Right,
you
yeah.
look at the neurons, if you look at neurons and how the nervous system works in the human body,
It's
this
as above,
looks
so
like,
below.
yes, this looks like part of the process of going from information traveling from here to here in this nervous system of a larger being. It looks like where we are locally right now in this is lots of
Where are you
information
talking?
that's being transferred from place to place.
Oh my god, my head's blown. It's not often my head gets no, Kelly. It's not often my it's not often my head gets blown, but my head's blown right now. I'm gonna have to process this.
I know. Go look up the process with the the synapses and all of that, and look at the pictures. Look at the
Mm.
pictures, and you're gonna go, "Oh my gosh!" So
Because
we'll end at that. I don't want to
isn't
blow
the
your
Earth
mind.
isn't the Earth the center of that map?
I forgot, and this is the blurry version, to
Okay.
make sure we don't do copyright issues and stuff. So I can't remember on here where it is.
I'm pretty sure it is
Where
because
I
I
think they call it the known world on here.
the known world. I want to go to the known world.
Known world. So it was where we are. And then, according to someone else, and I can't remember their complete and total story, it was like, okay, all these celebrities that like tricked everybody and all that, they brought them to this one bubble over here, like probably this big island with a beach all the way around it with cabana boys. It's
So
like, good
what?
job tricking the humans.
So what are the planets then? The luminaries.
They look like processing technology.
Yeah, that would make sense because that's what Saturn is, right? Saturn's
Yeah,
the
processing the souls or giving information. Like if it's a sun type concept, it gives information for that experience, the frequency and all. It gives the information. And then the moon type ones seem to recycle inside of that reality. They recycle the awarenesses, whatever they're called. And
yeah.
when you look out there, I see our stars on a disc like a record is playing a song. So we're down here and we're the interpretation of the song that's being played up there with the stars. That's a watered down version. It won't
That's a
talk any
very
more than
good way
that.
of putting it. It's a really easy way to grasp the way you put it there. So this disc is like spinning around and playing a tune, and then we're seeing it all play out on the
And it
surface.
goes through the water.
Yeah.
And the water, I find, when you look at this concept of the stargates, you've got water going on. So going between dome to dome or reality to reality, you go through water. So you go underwater. Space is salt water.
Wow.
You just go outside the bubble. I'm sorry, someone's mowing the yard over there, weed eating inside the third dimension, three dimensional trauma.
I don't know what dimension I'm in now. I'm in some other dimension.
If you're in a
uh,
larger body, you're in fluid, you're in liquid in a larger body,
yeah, I'm in someone's
and all of
nervous
its
system.
systems are liquid
I'm in
too.
the nervous system of a jellyfish, according to you.
I don't know. That's the best I can describe it. But here's ectoplasm. I took a picture of this. I don't want to freak you out too much. Let's see. Oh, it's not showing the picture. It's like, oh, he's had too much. Don't show him the picture, Kelly. Don't show him the picture. It's not showing the picture.
Okay.
We try this one. Nope. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's not even showing it. Wow.
So I wonder if these entities are just like bothering us, or they're bothering all these other planets on the jellyfish disk and feeding off the energy everywhere.
Well, the way
Like,
that I look at it as like from the avatar perspective, no matter what's going on, I'm in a helpless position. From like a higher perspective on this, I'm doing all of this down there, but I'm doing it from the level of a book, like a book of instructions on how to live all these lives and all from a higher self perspective. So everything that exists now, or will ever exist is in that book of creations. That's why we feel trapped in something, because
yeah,
we know this is all just set.
yeah,
But when you get up to the white light systems, where a lot of people say the white light is God, but it's like a creation of God.
yeah,
In that's how you see all of creation, like the black light with all the colors. That's with the feelings and the emotions program, and from all that programming, it goes through that white light that shines through all the patterned colored light, and that's how we get this experience that we're having.
Interesting.
So we just get down in the system and start manipulating on all the levels. So then again, it depends on what level are you on. Is this happening to me, or am I up here in a position where I get to make a decision, or at least I know what's going to happen when it's over with? Or did I create all of the place?
Because again, just going back to these NDEs, a lot of them talk about having a life script. Like these entities or these elders will sit down and work out a life script, and quite often down here, people will have like dreams or insights or strong feelings that someone's gonna pass, or that even that person will have a really strong feeling, oh, I shouldn't go here because something's gonna happen, and they'll do everything to avoid it, and then maybe the next day something happens. So it's almost like the lives are scripted, but to what degree are we able, when we wake up, can we move away from those life scripts that are set up? I wonder what that would be.
And then I look at it as, if we have the concept that we have to move away from it, we're trapped deeply in it. All we do is let go of it. Again, it's like that Chinese finger pull. The harder you pull, the more you get trapped.
Yeah,
the more you let go.
It's like, I'm God, so I'm just going to move away from it.
Or I'm just not going to manifest it anymore. I'm just going to do this other thing over here I want to do. So I don't move, because I create everything. I don't have to move from it. I create the concept of space, where a character over here might have a move lesson, but I don't have to move because I just create on the surface of my bubble.
So how would that, if we're like all one and co-creating, these are terms banded around, I wonder how much like other people's intentions mesh in with ours, and
that all one concept to me seems to be like a new age like push-pull white light system, because the black light with all the colors, the feelings, is where everything starts. Then you go through the white light, and through the white light you have all of the experiences. So if you want to look at it that way, you're connected to all the white light, all the consciousness, all the awareness, and all of creation. You can connect yourself to that. So in that concept, yes, everything out there is in this field or potential field that you're in as well. But it doesn't mean that someone that just broke out of jail, you're going to allow them in your house to spend the night. And that's where it's like a little bit light to everybody.
It's almost like we have like a blank canvas at any point of time that we could, once we become aware of it to the levels that you're talking about, we can really just become masters of our experience.
It's a potential field is what it is. A potential field that can do and be anything in all of creation. And the number one thing that makes it do its thing is feelings and emotions.
Right.
And then the words and the thoughts is secondary in this potential field. But so it can be nothing.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Carry on.
Oh, no. What was your question?
I was just saying, what about like taking physical action, because we're in the physical realm, and I think like even the word attraction has got the word action in it. So do you think it's just thoughts and feelings, or do we need to take physical action for these things to manifest in this dimension?
Just in my experience, I've been doing the 30-day manifestation challenge about 8 to 9 years, and we continue to experiment with all of these things that you're asking about. And I find anytime you look at a method for doing something, I always tell people, evaluate it yourself. Is it a pushing and a pulling technique, or is it a letting go and allowing technique? Because letting go and allowing you allow the white light to go back into its original patterns where it's at its best.
Okay.
And you don't have to run up your credit card.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and a pushing and pulling, you're running up that credit card, that white light credit card. Man, that payment is steep and it
Mm.
hurts.
All right. So let me play devil's advocate here. So just say like I want a new house, right? I've
Mhm.
either got to build it myself or someone else is going to have to build it for me. So
Okay.
how would that work with just the thinking and feeling side of things?
This is perfect. This is perfect. Okay. So this is what I do in the 30-day manifestation challenge. So hopefully this is going to be helpful in this process. You look at it, and the third dimension doesn't even exist. It's a hologram. So
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
really wanting a house. Let's find out what you're really wanting. And here's some things to choose from or not. You can make up your own list in this. But in this house that you're wanting or needing or desiring, is it worth or being worthy that you're looking for? Is it value that you're actually seeking? Is it
Uh,
peace, joy, freedom? Not
okay.
free from pain, because you have to create pain and then free yourself from it. So you get nowhere. Those are cults. I don't do that. Passion. Is that what you're really after? Is passion or love, acceptance,
So it's the
trust,
feeling behind wanting the actual thing.
optimism? Yeah. Satisfaction,
So what would be the feeling?
happiness,
What would be the feeling
present.
of a new house? So what would mm, I don't know. What
Yeah.
would you want?
Here's a bunch right here. It can be all or one or none. Gratitude, success. Might feel successful to have that house you built. Prosperity,
So what?
abundance.
So you're
And
saying you're tuning into the feelings of the intention behind what you want.
instead of tuning in, allowing for the feeling.
Okay, and what about visual? I feel like I'm interviewing you on your own
Oh, I'm
podcast.
sorry.
Sorry, I've contributed nothing to this one today.
No, you
I
don't
just,
do that.
no, we're bouncing off each other, so it's all right. All my information's on my channel. Sorry about that, guys. I'm interviewing Kelly on her own channel. No, but
Oh my gosh, we'll have
I'm
to have you
interested.
again.
So,
Sorry about that.
so I forgot what my question was now. What was my question? Oh yeah, that was it. So in terms of like this idea of visualization, so I want a new house. Do I spend time visualizing it or not?
On that, I found that the thoughts and the words will get you there slower and they will hinder you. And anything you do, whether it's visualizing a house with specific, paint colors and carpeting or a pool or whatever, as long as that gets you to the feeling that you've already got it, because what you were after maybe was just stability in the first place. So
Yes.
if it's a good focusing technique to get you to the feeling of stability instead of
Uh,
the feeling of having a house, then it's a good focusing technique. But I
which,
teach people to visualize on your own and create your own focusing techniques so that you can easily let go of it and it was just a distraction from your own blocks.
okay. So another question. I want this house. How long per day do I have to spend doing this technique?
Well, if you're wanting a house and you do the law of attraction and you can continue to look at this as a house instead of these feelings without any details,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to like cross all your T's and dot all your I's and do everything perfect and just right and do the chanting and all. If you go on the feeling method, I
Hmm.
find between 2 and 20 minutes.
Okay.
And
A
if
day.
you are in this feeling, if you're in this feeling over 51% of the time, then it works. Now, frequency and passion, I find you manifest faster.
Okay.
So, frequency meaning if you do it 10 times a day, like when someone comes to me and they've got cancer and they're dying, they do all the exercises 10 times a day and their cancer's gone in 5 weeks. So they really apply themselves. They're passionate about it. It's the passion and the frequency. You manifest faster, and the less detail, the better. The more detail you get, you're pushing it away, and you're
Okay.
limiting what you're getting. Because if it's like, I just want a house, I want to feel stability with a house, then maybe you get that house and you get that sense of stability, but maybe your job is shaky, your relationships are shaky and not stable. So you were looking at that one thing to fulfill it. So when you're healed and you just feel stable, then there's stability in a home, there's stability in a job or a relationship or whatever it happens to be.
Okay. Interesting.
And so you don't
Interesting.
limit yourself in the white light push pull system that we're still trying to figure. If we're trying to figure our way out of it, then we are producing this prison cell around us and decorating it quite nicely, is what I
Mm.
find. Is we basically
Uh,
do.
there's too many synchronicities with this conversation because, again, this was Howdy Mikowski that I was speaking to the other day, and he said that one medicine man, or he was speaking to his friend, and apparently these native Indians were trying to manifest rain, and two medicine men came, and the first one couldn't manifest rain. The second one came and he manifested rain straight away. And they said, "Well, what's the difference between you and him?" He's like, "Well, for me, I was in the feeling of rain's already here, not I'm trying to get rain to come here. I've already got the rain." And that's exactly the kind of thing that you're talking about. So it's no
Yeah.
coincidence to me that two conversations in the same week, when I've never touched on this subject at all, are both confirming the same thing. So that's really interesting.
Cool. You guys,
This is
Tony he's like about the all about the false white light. You really got me in the direction. I can't even remember what the topics were. Stuff that I didn't know there were false white light systems that you kind of helped me with seeing that. I sent you a list a long time ago. I probably got caught up in all the Christmas stuff about what it looked like all the white light push pull systems were from my perspective. And there's a lot. It's pretty much everything out there.
yeah. I mean, it's so alluring, isn't it? Like just even the name light. I mean, there's like a subconscious draw towards this idea of the light, and yeah. Who's to say what is the real light? There's we talk of false white light, but is there like a real light, or is that what's that all about? So, um, but yeah, I mean, it really sort of entraps a lot of souls that are kind of lost and looking for something. A lot of traumatized people, and because it sounds so good and it feels so good on the surface, at least, angels and friendly aliens and guides that are here to, help us and all this stuff. The people just that they love it, right? Because they're so traumatized and they need something to lean into because perhaps they were abandoned as a child or betrayed and abused or what have you, and so it's like a crutch for people, and just like religion is really. I mean, it's the new religion, isn't it? The new age
Mm,
movement. But I think where it gets really triggering for people is when you start talking about, their guides or entities, or their deceased loved ones are masquerading as entities. And I've heard so many stories down the years in sessions of where, God, where like a deceased loved one showed up, and this guy thought he was talking to his dead dad, and then he ended up losing his business,
oh,
his wife, and having a car accident. Like everything went wrong. And then you hear another variation where I spoke. I had a session with a lady who was very high up within New Age circles back in the UK, down in Glastonbury, and thought she was connecting with Archangel Michael, and Archangel Michael helped her
cool.
find her lost cat. Right, so she had this extra kind of trust because she found her cat based on what Archangel Michael had told him. But then it panned out that Archangel Michael was trying to get her hooked in because she was a prominent figure. He was using her to get lots of people hooked into this big false white light energy grid, where obviously their energy would be drained and siphoned off. And also, so even though initially he was doing this, like what she thought on the surface, this really great job for her, there was this big grand agenda that he was playing in the background. And I always say to people, I mean, you look at people like John of God, like he was healing people with cancer and all kinds of stuff, but he ended up being a child trafficker. So, you know, not everything that is, what's that saying? Not everything that's sugar is spice, or maybe I got that the wrong way around. But are you there, Kelly? You disappeared again. Kelly's gone. Is she back? We've got we had a picture come up with angels, but it's gone again. And I think Kelly's trying to log back in. Try and hold the button while she's logging on. But yeah, it's great to have everyone in the stream today. I mean, I haven't contributed as much as I normally do, but Kelly's information is really great, and I'm always open to new information. I'm going to try these manifestation techniques. I don't know if we're going to get her back. So, oh, that's a shame. Yeah. Oh, she's back. Is she back? The gremlins. I don't know if we're going to get this back. I think she's having some connection problems here. Oh, Kelly. We were right knee deep into some good stuff there. But yeah, I'm sure